Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the TARDIS Zone. This is the TARDIS Zone Talks. You're probably wondering why there's no usual intro. Well, it seems StreamYard has decided that now you can't even use your own intros without paying for it anymore. So there'll be no more TARDIS Zone intro. Um, so there, just want to get that out of the way. Bit of a bummer, really, but what can you do about it? StreamYard's just too expensive now. But it's absolutely ridiculous that they've put you know, the one thing that was good about StreamYard was the fact that, you could do your little intros even if you had the basic plan. But now they've put it behind a paywall. So there's no more TARDIS Zone intros anymore, which is an absolute bloody shame, to be quite honest with you. So from now on, I'll just be coming on abruptly. So that'll take a while to get used to, I suppose. But anyway, let's let's get into this. So it is official. Disney have done a deal with ITV, BBC's competition. Now, when I say BBC's competition, I mean in the ratings. They have collaborated together on BritBox, as we all know, but BritBox it has become a complete and utter failure. ITVX also was reported to be on its last legs, and now Disney has come swooping in. So Disney ITV team up for mutual streaming launch on Disney Plus and ITVX. Disney Plus customers in the UK will be able to stream some of ITV's shows, such as Mr. Bates versus the Post Office and the spy thriller Among Friends, while ITVX viewers will be able to watch the US entertainment companies FX The Bear and reality titles like The Kardashians. Walt Disney and the oldest commercial television network ITV announced on Thursday that both companies will carry each other's streaming service on their platform. Disney Plus and ITVX starting July 16th, building on their existing partnership. Now, July 16th is 6 days away. So it'll be very interesting to see if 6 days' time there's any sort of announcement with BBC in relation to that partnership there. Or they could still just wait until the deal officially runs out, which would be when the war between the land and the sea finishes airing. But remember, originally the BBC had told us and told the world that that there'd be a press release after the end of season two, but that never materialised. And of course, now we do know from RTD that he doesn't know if Billy Piper is actually the doctor. So basically, when he done that, he hadn't got a clue what the fuck he was doing. And to be basically honest with you, I think Jack got it right when he says that was what RTD's way is sticking the middle finger up to the fans. And I honestly believe that. Disney shares edged. Now, I'm not reading this off the TV Zone or whatever you fucking call them magazine, because that publication is written by half-wits, and also, you know, they're one of those publications that's tried to get in there with the BBC, so have been very complimentary in their reporting on Doctor Who and spinning the crap like we've seen from Radio Times and all of these other media platforms just to be accepted. So I have this from Stockwits, a stocktwits .com. It's like a financial kind of thing. The article's in the link description, but I'm going to read out the rest of the article and continue to give me your opinion like I'm doing now. Disney shares edged at 0.2 higher in the pre-market trading. Rental sentiment around the stock remained in bearish territory as compared to a day ago, according to StockTwits data. The company said a curated and regularly refreshed selection of hit shows and movies will be available to viewers on both platforms. Disney and ITV have a long-standing relationship with ITV Productions. Uh, ITV producing several Disney Plus originals like Rivals, Renegade Nell, and Under the Bridge. The US entertainment company and ITVX deal is aimed at garnering customers in a crowded UK streaming market dominated like players like Netflix, Amazon, Prime Video, and Now TV. In an environment where the subscription fatigue is growing and rivals like Apple TV and Paramount Plus are aggressively competing for market share, their collaboration blurs the line between free-to-air broadcast and premium streamers, positioning both players to compete with each other. Disney Plus customers in the UK will be able to stream some of ITV shows such as Mr. Bates versus the Post Office, thriller Spy Among Friends, select a series of reality show Love Island, and The Price of Perfection. ITVX viewers will be introduced to a rotating rail of Disney Plus shows, which will be updated regularly. The selection in the coming months includes the fourth season of FX The Bear, Lucasfilm Andor, and Only Murders in the Building, as well as a selected series of reality titles such as The Kardashians. It will also include family shows such as Lilo and Stitch, the series, and Disney show will be made available to all ITVX viewers at no cost and ad-free on ITVX Premium, the companies said. So there you go. Now the question I have to ask you guys is, does this ITV deal actually affect the Disney Plus deal with BBC? Well, the fact that we're not actually getting any information, even though we were promised information after Series 2 aired on Disney Plus. Remember, BBC said that they wouldn't be making any comment on the series' future until after Season 2 aired. And that hasn't happened. Right? Then we had the whole joke at the end of the season finale. Right? Which put more speculation in the air. In the meantime, RTD has been talking about a slight pause and a hiatus, right? Okay. Now, do you remember I told you that Toddler Who, BBC were looking for pitches for the Toddler Who? Well, today is the day that people were to come and pitch for the BBC. So we will keep an eye on that and see what happens there. Now, look, in all reality, as I said, BritBox, ITV and BBC have collaborated before. Maybe, there could be a chance of ITV and BBC being both on Disney Plus's books, but I don't see it, to be quite honest with you. If you read that article and read the details, right, they're basically given ITVX exclusive to their shows, Disney Plus. They didn't do that with BBC, right? So they've gone to ITV for that. BBC's rivals in the ratings, right? They're not rivals like they used to be years ago, someone pointed out, which is true, right? But they still fight over ratings. They still try to have the best soap, EastEnders, Coronation Street, right? They still fight in the ratings when the TV. It still matters who comes out on top when the weekend ratings are done. It still matters. So in that aspect, they're still rivals, right? This just to me, right, with everything that we know, right? And the talk about in the media that BBC are out looking for another distributor, uh, I would find it funny and hilarious if the deal with BBC obviously has gone awry, right? Because the media have reported on it, right? So if it has, Disney Plus have gone to BBC's natural rivals and now given them the benefits of this deal, right? And then Disney gets to show some of ITV's shows. And remember, I know they've mentioned a few shows there, but as that deal matures and goes on, ITV do they do these kind of what you call them, like the Bridgerton type sort of things, and people in America fucking love that shit. I mean, Americans love Bridgerton. They love the fucking Crown and all of that other stuff. Do you know what I mean? They like all of those period dramas. That's what I couldn't think of the word. Period dramas. ITV is known for period dramas, right? And their period crime dramas. And the Americans lap that shit up, they do. That's a reality. They actually do lap that shit up. They love it. I mean, the Americans love the royal fucking family, like. So reading between the lines and actually reading this article and not the TV now, TV's Zone now, whatever you call them, or any of the other articles, right? This one goes into more detail, right? As I said, the link is in the link this or the article's in the link description. Go and check it out for yourselves, right? I just think, this to me anyway, and this is just my opinion, but with this being announced to me, this seems that BBC are gone. BBC are gone. I mean, you know, they're looking elsewhere in the British market, Disney Plus. Like, it's not a good sign. I mean, it's not a good indicator, especially since we've heard from the media and what they've been reporting. And remember, Lee was the first one to break the news on this channel about the fact that Disney Plus were gone, and that was back in January, right? That was back in January, and the media have been talking about what the last few months. So Lee is being ahead of the game on this, and ahead of the media on this one, and the media has reported everything that Lee said. Like, so, this just doesn't. You have to look at this logically, right? I'm not saying that Disney couldn't do a deal with BBC and ITV. I just feel with all the stuff that we've been hearing in the media, and of course what Lee told us here, it just seems very unlikely that BBC is still in the picture. I think this to me confirms, without officially saying it, that BBC and Disney Plus are done. And now all it is a matter of time on waiting on the announcement. I mean, again, you've got to ask yourself logically. Well, oh yeah, also just another thing as well, which is a bit weird. Um, Hold on, I want to get it up for a minute. Wait, just give me a second, because this is interesting. Right, where is it? Right, so apparently, Bad Wolf Studios have given BBC a deadline to announce the future of the show because of the TARDIS set is taking up too much space in their studio space, and they don't want to take it down just in case the show obviously does get renewed, because it'd be a very complicated procedure. So they have basically, Bad Wolf have given Disney, not Disney, have given BBC a deadline to announce the future of Doctor Who. And if I'm sure in saying, it seems to, if I remember the date correctly, it was actually in July as well. So hold on, I just want to see if I can find that, just to double confirm it. But if true, if in fact Bad Wolf Studios has given BBC a deadline, well then it just goes to show you that RTD does in fact haven't got a clue what's going on. So here it is. It's actually a rumor. Sorry, it's actually a rumor, and it's a rumor on Reddit. Now, normally I wouldn't read rumors on Reddit, but I have to say this year in particular and last year, these 2 seasons in particular, which makes me believe that stuff was leaked deliberately to try garner and generate some hype for the 2 seasons of Doctor Who, but it never materialized. But in saying that, there's been people that have been putting up rumors on Reddit that have come true 100%. There's no doubt in it. Like, some people claim they have sources, but these people on Reddit actually, got a lot of stuff right, and we have to acknowledge that. So here's the rumor. Bad Wolf have given the BBC 8 weeks to make a decision on Doctor Who. The reason, the interior of the TARDIS. The TARDIS has remained standing in Bad Wolf Studios since filming for the 60th anniversary began in 2022. It's too complex to dismantle and rebuild. However, it is now taking up studio space and could be used for other productions, and Bad Wolf see this as a loss for the company. They are now pushing the BBC to make a decision on whether they will continue producing the long-running sci-fi show in history, or whether they will be rewarded to a new studio as part of an ongoing discussion between streaming production companies. Hopefully this means we should have a further and more definite insight into the future of the show within the next 2 months. Not mine, it's copied from a friend, blah, 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 blah. And apparently, however, the editor was asked to drop this piece from the BBC. So apparently, this was all going to be put in an article, and it was the BBC asked it for not to be put in the article. Now, whether that's true or not, but as I said, I think Reddit has really over the last 2 years or 3 years proven to be a place where people are getting things right. So I don't know what you think on that. So they're saying 2 months, right? Now I don't know when that was put up, because usually you get a date on these things, right? That's put up on Reddit. But there's no date on this one, so I don't know when this was actually put up, right? Now if it was only put up a couple of weeks ago, well then that would mean we'd have about 6 weeks left or something like that. If it was only put up recently, then 2 months, June, July, what are we in? July now, August, September. That's when the rumoured Sea Devil spin-off is supposed to be getting released, September, around the September time. It could all add up. But interesting if true that Bad Wolf Studios basically want a definitive answer from the BBC, because it sounds like they would like to move on. If that's what's going to happen, they want to move on ASAP, as the studio doesn't want to be losing any money. I can understand that to a certain extent, got to be honest with you. But yeah, what do you guys think about that? Look, as I said, I just can't see Disney Plus doing another deal with BBC after the money that they've wasted. Right? The only way I can actually see it happening, right? And there's only one possibility, but even at that, I believe the media reports and I believe what Lee said, because Lee has no reason to lie. If Lee is told that information, then I have no reason to doubt him. And the media's reported on it anyway. The media's not reporting on anything else. Like, they're not coming out and saying no, the deal is still in place. It's all bullshit. Like, they're actually all reporting the same. Even Radio Times, which is BBC's biggest mouthpiece, have even reported the same thing. So that just goes to show you. And former Doctor Who editor also coming out with comments recently as well. Do you know what I mean? It's all adding up. Like, as I said, you don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to figure out that there's something going on behind the scenes. Definitely. Um, but what do you think, guys? Do you think this ITV thing now, to you, proves that BBC and Disney Plus are done, or do you still think that they could be still a chance of them working together? I just, to me, with everything that's going on, it just doesn't seem plausible. Yeah, so for anybody that's just joined, I will read the headline again. So hold on, because I see a few people are coming into the chat now, and a few people have showed up. So this is the news. This is the story. Where is it? Oh, do I have to fucking... Oh, here we go again. Here we go. So, wrong one. Here it is. So Disney ITV team up for mutual stream and launch on Disney Plus and ITVX. Disney Plus customers in the UK will be able to stream some of ITV shows such as Mr. Bates versus the Post Office and Spy Thriller Among Friends, while ITVX viewers will get to watch US entertainment companies FX, The Bear, and the reality titles like Kardashian. So they'll also get to see Alien Earth, the new show, because it's not on FX, if I'm correct. So ITV and Disney Plus have basically done a deal together. Now they did have a kind of a pre-existing deal because ITV had produced some shows for Disney Plus, but this deal now is there's more to it. There's a streaming element to it. Both will share programs and all of that. And yeah, look, as I said, and Lee is in there. It's done. Yeah, I agree with you, mate. This indicates anyway. You know, I mean, it's BBC's rivals. I know they're not rivals like they were before, as I said, but they still fight out the weekends for the best ratings, right? So in that sense, they're rivals. For this deal to be done like that, like, and to be have extras added to it, it's not looking good for BBC. And I'm not saying, again, someone brought up BritBox, and as I said, yes, but I think Lee, because Lee had BritBox, I think Lee will tell you that BritBox has been kind of ultimately a failure. And ITVX, the streaming service, was actually on its last legs. So this Disney Plus deal kind of keeps ITVX going, because ITVX was facing problems as well. So now that the streaming platform ITVX is basically being saved now, they've done this deal where they share programming. And, you know, to me, that would indicate, because think about it, Disney have gone to ITV now to get their entry into the UK market now, instead of going to BBC. And think about it logically, you know, why didn't they go to BBC when they've made the biggest deal on Doctor Who, giving them 100 fucking million? Right? So I'm telling you, this is not looking good. And as I said, you know, Lee on this channel in January. He broke the news about the Disney and the BBC deal going pear shaped, I should say. And it was months later, before the media caught hold of it and start speaking about it, right? So, as I said, if Lee says something, I take his word for it. But the fact that the media have backed him up, which is another sign in his favour. I mean, you don't have to be Sherlock Holmes. If the media are reporting on it, then clearly you're onto something. And now this deal, to me anyway, confirms that there's that the relationship between Disney Plus and BBC is sour. Sour. Can't I just it's mad. It's mad. They've gone to ITV now. Now they have access to UK TV now, right? BBC, what did a deal with them for Doctor Who for 100 million? I think Disney have done the better deal. To be quite honest with you, with ITV, as I said, the Americans love their old, period dramas and all of that. ITV are well known for doing period dramas, and the Americans lap that shit up, right? This is a good deal for ITV, I have to say, and it's not a bad deal for Disney Plus either. It actually isn't. This is a better deal than the BBC deal, right? This is a better deal than the BBC. Like, they've come into their rivals and done a deal with their rivals, and yet we're led to believe that everything is rosy between the BBC and Disney Plus. I'm sorry, but you don't just go and do a deal with right now. There's something. It's look. I think it's really clear that RTD fouled the ball, and Disney are not happy. And you know, because I'm telling you, think about it. If Doctor Who had been a success, right? Okay, then we'd be following it up with the war between the land and the sea, right? And just imagine if that had been successful as well. Just imagine a world where RTD actually did things right, right? And that show was a success, and the spin off was a success. I don't think that Disney Plus would actually be doing another deal with ITV, to be quite honest with you, right? They wouldn't need to, right? They could do that deal with BBC, have access to their shows, right? BBC used to do great shows as well at one time, right? They still make the odd hit, right? And Americans love British TV. Oh, and just another thing for anybody that didn't know, Doctor Who obviously had to deal with HBO Max. You remember that? Well, obviously HBO Max was showing Doctor Who on their platform. I didn't know. I thought it was they took it off, but apparently that has run out now, and Doctor Who will no longer be on HBO Max. I heard something about Netflix. I don't know what's going on, but this is another thing that's a mess as well. BBC will do a deal with someone for Doctor Who, but yet let another streaming platform, you know, show earlier Doctor Who. It makes no sense. Doctor Who should be all in one place. Classic Who and New Who should be in one place. Right? You shouldn't be scattered all over different fucking streaming platforms. BBC are so desperate to get in money because they can't do their jobs properly. But yeah, look, there's still people doubting that Disney are gone. Um, I mean, I kind of think that this bit of news today kind of confirms that all is not rosy in the garden of Disney and BBC. And look, sure, look, we not all know how reliable Lee is anyway, right? But the fact that the media are talking about this, right? The fact that the media are talking about this, and look, you can criticise the Sun newspaper. I hate the Sun newspaper. It's a scum rag, right? Everybody knows it's a scum rag. But I just want to tell you something. Not only did they get, the fact that shoot he was leaving right and all the other stuff right, they also got right the fact that an actress that hadn't been in the EastEnders for over 16 years had returned, and they actually broke that story as well. So if you actually go on X or Google it, you will see fans of EastEnders coming out and criticising the Sun newspaper for spoiling their big comeback. Like, so the Sun newspaper is nailed on with all of this. As I said, regardless whether you believe Lee or not, I do believe Lee because Lee has no reason to lie. I know Lee is more reliable than people out there that are claiming that they are reliable, right? But the media are talking about this, and you can't get away from that. And now this deal kind of it does. It kind of confounds everything that people have been saying. People at Disney Plus are not happy with BBC. They're not happy with RTD, right? He did that at the end of that season and then he comes out and says, "I don't know if she's the doctor." So he's telling you there, it's basically two fingers up to you. I don't care anyway. I'm out of here. We spoke about it at length on this channel. I've had different guests on. I recently had Jack on, as you know, and we were kind of talking about this. And it's basically, he could see that his legacy was being destroyed. So it was like, well, I'm not letting Chips do it. I'm going to destroy my own legacy myself because I brought the show back. So if the show's going to end, it's going to end on my watch, sort of attitude. Right? And then if you see what he's produced and written these last couple of years, well, then you can see it. It's obvious. He doesn't care. And the rumoured streaming platform wants Doctor Who to take a more serious tone. I think it's rumoured to be Amazon. Sure, if you look at what Amazon's produced, I don't know if any streaming platform out there is going to be a good deal for the BBC and for Doctor Who. But they want Doctor Who. Well, one thing that you give them points for, if true, they want RTD gone. They want the show to take a more serious tone. But of course, RTD wants to keep it campy and gay. And I'll say it because that's exactly what it is, out straight. That's what he wants. Right? He even said it in an article. He didn't want Doctor Who to be, manly and all of this other shit that he was coming out with. Start coming out with I don't want it to be for straight white blokes and all this other rubbish. But whether you like it or not, that's your audience. So get over it. So this is what Lee's had to say. And again, this is why I'll always back him up. He says, "My source was very well placed. I have no reason to make it up. And months later, what I said has now been widely reported." Exactly. And that's the thing. That's why I'd believe you over any other fucking gobshite out there claiming to have sources and come out and say, the opposite even. There's no reason for you to lie. Sure, you don't do this shit normally. So why would you? We always talk and we have discussions on Doctor Who. So, I mean, there's no reason for you to lie. There's no reason for you to lie. And as I said, the media back you up. So, doesn't matter what people out there are saying. You're still being called a liar and stuff like that by a certain individual. Of course, that certain individual's deranged. He's always going to call people liars. I mean, that person's still maintaining that Disney Plus and BBC are still going to go ahead. Like, he's the only one that's actually saying that. Everybody else reporting different. But look, anyway, interesting one. And as I said, today is the deadline. Just to let you know, give you a bit of a reminder. So I'll be looking out to see if there's any articles on that later on, because it's in relation to Toddler Who. So the deadline for Toddler Who was today. Deadline for initial responses, the 10th of July 2025. Well, we're the 10th of July 2025. So we'll see if Anton comes out. I wouldn't say we'll get Anton today in relation to it, but I say over the next couple of days, maybe the weekend, we might get some indicators if anybody has actually came forward to pitch ideas to the BBC. Even though BBC have you know, their conditions on anybody that comes in. I find it quite cheeky, really. BBC are asking for pitches, right? And then they're saying, yeah, but look, even though he's giving you that pitch and he's going to be fronting the money, we just want to tell you that we have certain criteria, and if you don't keep to that certain criteria, then we're not interested, which I think is actually stupid. BBC can't be affording to turn away money now at this stage, but they probably will, because everything has to go a certain way with the BBC now. But as I said, the initial submissions were today. Initial pitches were responses. Deadline for the initial responses were today. So Doctor Who preschool animation invitation to pitch, and the deadline for the initial responses was today, 2025. So we'll see what happens with that, and I'll keep an eye on that, and I'll keep you informed. One thing he's probably noticed, there's not much going on in relation to the war between the land and the sea, which makes me think that this is going to be an absolute disaster, because nobody's really talking about it. So there hasn't been much of an update on that. So again, if there's any updates on that, I'll keep you informed. But as I said, it's not a good fucking look, is it? You got a spin-off coming out and you're not even promoting it. Now, there's a Doctor Who exhibit, and there's a part of that, the Black Archive or something like that. And people are speculating, and they've been speculating that the war between the land and the sea will actually get a panel at Comic-Con. Now, I haven't seen anything in relation to the panel on Comic-Con and on their official site, to be quite honest with you. The only thing, as I said, they do have an exhibit, and this how the science works in Doctor Who, which is pretty fucking laughable when you look at the last few seasons of Doctor Who that we got on. Like, there's no fucking science in it, so I don't know why you'd be wasting your time doing an exhibit of the science of Doctor Who when, like, there's literally no fucking science in the new Doctor Who. Like, it's been pretty shoddy over the years. Let's be honest about it. This is why we got, lines like wibbly wobbly, timey wimey, because that was just an excuse not to fix up the loose ends because you hadn't got a fucking clue what you were doing, sort of thing. And I know those lines have become popular and all of that, but that's where those lines came from, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. It was a way of not having to explain your fucking plot or the thing that you were trying to do because you hadn't got a clue what you were doing yourself. Like, so there is a Doctor Who exhibit. I think it's isn't it San Diego Comic Con? San Diego Comic Con. Now, some people, including the lunatic, are reporting that they're going to have a Comic Con panel because they spoke about the exhibit, and then they're kind of just jumping the gun and saying there hasn't been an official release on a Comic-Con panel. And I would just have to say this though, right? I would find it pretty odd, right, that they do a Comic-Con panel when they didn't bother their arse with Doctor Who, right? Do you remember when Moffat was around, and even when RTD, all the amount of Comic-Cons that they went to, right? Comic-Cons everywhere they did, right? RTD2 has hardly done any Comic-Cons. So, I find it quite strange if they're doing a panel for the war between the land and the sea when they're hardly fucking promoting the thing. They seem to have it literally given up on it. And then, I don't know, like, as I said, why wasn't Doctor Who at all these Comic-Cons? Right? Because it was the filming schedule, whatever excuse they use, like they did with Jodie and all of this. Right? Comic-Cons measure the success of your brand, in my opinion. And Doctor Who's presence at Comic-Con the last few years has been a shambles. Yeah, we remember the Zoom one. Yeah, we all took the piss out of that. Do you remember? They wouldn't even let they let a certain amount of fans in. Do you remember they did something where fans had to subscribe or do something to get into the live chat, but the general chat couldn't respond or ask questions. Like they censored those things, or they did pre-records and threw them out. Like, right? But it's at least they did something like that. But they're and you could understand during that time because wasn't COVID around and all of that. But since then, there's been no excuse for Comic-Cons, right? No excuse, right? And the reason why they won't, and they did the joint one with Alex. Remember, he did that joint one with Alex Kurtzman. They got together. Yeah, they got them in one room together because Star Trek and Doctor Who are failing, right? When Doctor Who was at his heyday, it would sell out one of these halls, right? They wouldn't need to link up with anybody else. They would have the hall sold out. There'd be queues. There'd be people that wouldn't even be able, that turned up and couldn't even get entry because, it was that full. There was things going on with the Doctor Who stuff all the time. That's the one. That's the one where they did the crossover. Yeah. Telling you. Absolutely disgraceful. Anyway, look, I'm going to leave it there, right? As I said, I'll keep an eye on things today. If there's any news in relation to Toddler Who, I will let you know, and I'll keep you updated on the war between the land and the sea. Look, I know some of you don't have interest anymore, but I'm still going to cover it because to me, if it's the last thing that they do with Disney Plus, I want to watch it anyway and see how good or bad it is. By looking at everything that I've seen so far, I don't have me hopes up. To be quite honest with you, my expectations are really low for this. So we'll see if it'll surprise me. But again, it's written by Pete McTeague and RTE, so I'm not holding out any hope. To be quite honest with you, I was criticised a few months back. Someone criticised me. Oh look, it's disgraceful. Noel's attacking a writer before they even see their story, and it happened to be about Juno Dawson. And I mean, everything that I said there in that comment that you were so outraged about, I was right. Their episode was shy and was the biggest expensive mess that I'd ever seen, to be quite honest with you. Imagine making that the most expensive episode and it turned out to be one of the worst episodes ever. Absolutely disgraceful. Anyway, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. If you've just joined me, go back and watch the start of the stream. And then go into the comment section, leave a comment, give me your opinion on everything that I've spoke about here. as I said, I'll keep you informed as much as I can. And yeah, as some of you are just coming in, and some of you have come in late, so StreamYard, just to let you know briefly, StreamYard have put, I can't even put a countdown on the channel anymore. StreamYard have stopped me from using my intros and outros, so there'll be no more Tarzan intros or outros anymore, because StreamYard have deemed that they're going to put it behind a paywall now, which is absolutely fucking ridiculous. Because that was the one thing you got your free. The basic package was your 3 hours, and you got to play your fucking your little intros and outros. Now I can't play them anymore. So the stream is just going to end abruptly, just like it started abruptly. And I'm actually pissed off because Lee is in the chat. Lee put them together and worked very hard on them. And now I can't play them at the beginning or the end of my streams anymore because StreamYard have put it behind a paywall. So yeah, Lee has just said that I might have to start now looking for another place now to do me streams on, rather than StreamYard, and look for a different alternative, because that's absolutely ridiculous. See, this is what happens. StreamYard's gotten too big for its boots, to be quite honest with you. You know, and they still have issues to fix on the thing. Like, I don't complain because normally they do fix them, but I just think that's just pure greed now on their behalf. And for anybody that just says, well, why don't you just get StreamYard again? Well, I mean, it's over $400, guys, right? That's how much it is now for a yearly plan, okay? And it's just one upgrade from the basic. It's not as if I'm getting the advanced plan or anything like that. That's just for the next plan. It's over $400 fucking dollars. Can't afford it anymore. And that's just the bottom line. So I'm pissed. But there's nothing I can do about it. Obviously, when I do my little videos, I'll be able to use the Tarzan talk ones that I've been using, but I won't be able to use the Tarzan intro anymore, which is pissing me off. I know, Lee. I know. But I had a good run with them because in fairness to them, I think for two years there wasn't a price rise, and then all of a sudden then it start rising then after that. So you know, but you are right. You are right. They all do the same eventually, don't they? And with AI coming out as well, probably thinking about that as well. So, you know, when I saw they'd done a new update on it and they had all my videos in a line, I was like, lovely. Now I don't have to go and scroll down. Now they're all here. And then I went to press someone, and it said, "Oh, you have to you have to subscribe to the premium to be able to play your videos." Like ridiculous. Anyway, we'll find. Look, it's not the end of the world, right? We'll find another. We'll find another place that will allow me to do that. You know. So we'll find something. It's not the end of the world, right? I can still stream, but I'm pretty sure eventually they'll start reducing how many hours you could stream free as well. So it'll only be a matter of time before all of these streaming platforms anyway are all paid, and you have to pay for them all. Remember the music apps that I was using to do all the songs? Now they're all being paywall now, so I can't use them anymore. So anybody wondering why there hasn't been any new songs, that's the reason why. They're all behind paywalls now. As Lee said, they give you a taste of the goodies, the candy, and then they snatch it away from you and say you have to fucking pay for it. You have to fucking pay for it. Anyway, with that, just help me out anyway with the liking and the commenting as you've been doing over the years, and encourage people to subscribe, and we'll be alright. You know yourselves anyway. Right, this is going to be weird. I'm just going to end the stream now, so I will talk to you all very soon. It's a lovely day here in Dublin. Of course, the media are having a meltdown. You think we never had a heat wave before, but we have a heat wave today. It's the end of the fucking world, you know. So if you are having the same kind of weather in the UK as well, enjoy it. Enjoy your day. Get that vitamin D in you. Get out there and get a bit of sun. I'm going off now to do a few bits and pieces. As I said, I'll keep an eye if there's any more developments in relation to Toddler Who and the war between the land and the sea. And I'll talk to you all for the next one really soon. Have a good day, guys. All right. And as usual, listen, I want to thank you all for the support. And each of you have supported me in different ways. But I want to thank you for that support and continued support. It means the world to me. So thanks very much. And I'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.